Right, so as you can see, it looks like I've got some sort of weird shaped head. Okay, so you can tell that at the moment this isn't me in the picture. So just zoom in a little bit more. With my layer selected, I'm going to bring the opacity down to around about there. And what we can now see is where my head differs from the head underneath. So you obviously can see that I still need to change the size of my head a bit. There we go. Move this over. Okay. So now my head looks a bit more fitting onto Putin's head there. Now, apply. How do we get rid of the excess skin that you don't need? Well, that's quite simple. What you do is click on the eraser button. Okay, I'm going to make the master diameter to about 20. Actually, no, about 15, and bring the hardness down to about 40%. Now, what I'm going to try and do is erase this off, because I know where to go, because I've brought down the opacity of my layer. I know exactly how much to use and where to bring it up to. So obviously it's coming right up to the neck here, and a little bit around here as well, just slightly. Alright, okay, and that's basically got rid of all the extra neck area. So now it looks like I'm actually on top of his head there. But as you can see, we also have another problem, because the ears are not my ears. They're actually his ears there are sticking out the sides. So what I want to do now is select the background, the clone stamp tool, hold down Alt and select an area of the background, I'd say about here, and click. Now what you do is bring it over here and draw. And what it's now doing is basically drawing this area of the background over to this side of the image. Now what I think I might do is actually bring that down a little bit more, because that's a bit too... There we go, and bring this up. Right, let's try that again. Alt, click. And basically I'm getting rid of his ear. And there's a bit of skin down here but I can get rid of, because that's Putin's underneath mine. Okay. That's good. And I'm also going to use the blur tool to kind of blur out the background a bit, so that you can't see the edges too well. Right. Okay. Okay, what I'm going to try and do now with my head, is kind of smooth off the edges very, very slightly. Okay. Where's the brush? So the hardness is down. Okay, so basically the edges look really smooth and not so sharp. Okay. Now, as you can see down here, we have a part of Putin's neck that doesn't kind of match mine. So there are many ways to do this. I'll just go to Image, Adjustment, and hold on, wrong one. There you go. Make sure your layer is selected. Image, Adjustments, and Curves. Now, any of the Adobe After Effects users will recognise this if you've done colour correction before. It's the same kind of setup. Okay. What I'm going to try and do is do my best to match my skin with the skin underneath his. I mean, effectively, I should have used a pen tool to cut more of my neck out of this. That way, all I would have had to have done would have been to erase the excess skin over the top of the neck here. Right. Red. Let's bring the red up slightly. Not too much. Okay. It actually looks a lot better if I bring it down as it goes, because it matches a lot better. Red, greens. No, that doesn't work. No, now look like the Hulk. So bring that down slightly. And the blue. Let's see if this does anything. Not too bad. Right, I think that's quite good at matching up the skin there. Right, obviously you don't really need to be that worried if it doesn't match up perfectly. because obviously you're not going to be zoomed in this close into the picture anyway. Okay, so I'm just click OK, and like, obviously if you zoom in you can see there's a very small colour change, but nothing really to worry about, because if I zoom right out you can see that I'm in the picture with Bush here, and I'm shaking his hand, and it looks like I'm actually in the picture with him. But things to notice are obviously Bush's face here is very kind of reddened, so to speak, and mine is very kind of dark and just generally dark. It doesn't kind of match the atmosphere around us. So obviously, I probably would need to bring up the curves again, the reds in the curves. So not worrying about the neck part now. I'm just going to bring up the RGB. I mean, obviously that's a bit too much. And the reds are probably the most important to concentrate on here, as you can see. Just try and brighten it up a bit more, so that your face kind of matches the same tone that the person standing in the picture of you is. Okay, red, green. No, that doesn't really go, does it? I think that looks okay, but you can also bring up the brightness and contrast as well. You know, you don't want to bring it up too much, but I'm just brightening it up a little bit more to match the scene. I think that looks okay, and yeah, basically that's the tutorial. Obviously, the main points to think about when doing things like this is make sure that whatever image you plan to place over someone else's head kind of matches the lighting situation. Like I say, if there was a shadow cast over Bush's left side of his face, then obviously I've got to make sure it's the same with my picture as well. But yeah, the pen tool is usually the best way to cut around your face, because you've got the most control and you can edit it as much as you like once it's done. And like I say, when you've copy and paste it onto the new image, just use the transform tool to resize it and all the rest of it. Bring down the opacity slightly so you can see both layers, obviously your head and the head underneath, and that way you can easily delete around the parts that need the skin being removed. Obviously, if there are still parts of the head showing underneath the picture, I think here, for instance, I've still got his ear on this side showing through. Where is it? Yeah, that's not my ear there. So obviously, again, use the clone stamp tool. Okay, which is here. You hold down Alt, select a part of the background, click, and then you just draw it over the top. There you go. And basically you clear out any parts of the head underneath that you don't want. And yeah, colour correction is obviously important, making sure that you match in the area around you. And obviously if you have the problem where you don't really want to blend the face with other parts, then like I say, I should have added more of my head into this picture, because obviously now you've got the gap there, but if I zoom out you won't really notice it at all, because it's such a small thing that you really just won't notice it at all. So that's it. So my name's Dave from VideoFXUniverse.com. Please visit the site. We were going through a completely new change. Got a new forum with more features. Trying to make new tutorials for everyone, and I hope to speak to you soon. Bye.